In 1987 through 88, when I started driving, the morning air was very good. Now the air we breathe.
80-foot observation deck of Beijing's broadcasting tower. All is clear but the air.
On the top, you can pick a piece
Full of stars.
What Beijingers do see a lot, however, is a warm red setting sun. An ethnic Tibetan environmentalist based in Qinghai Tibetan Plateau saw his first red sun while visiting Beijing.
Concerned about pollution, he is among a handful who will not bring his children here and wires his savings back to his family in Hunan province. The riverbank has become a landfill site and also a paradise for scavengers like Xiang Chanming.
这个就是山和车经我们在水泥厂障碍都以前的，到水泥厂障碍我也干过的。
Not only is China's economy growing faster than everyone else's, so are its new buildings. To power these buildings, China has looked to raise its energy capacity. However, China's runaway energy demands have not only concerned its own leaders, but countries around the world. A handful of entrepreneurs have started working to save energy. Here is Chen Xiaogong, an energy efficiency veteran who has finished a retrofitting project for CCTV, cutting 16% of the state television's power bill, while making good money for his 11. And the rest of your trip will most likely be spent underneath the blanket of depressing smog. From the 700.
It's just one factor. But I think it's more that we have too many cars.
There are issues with air quality. We studied that together with the organizers. The organizers also are putting in place huge efforts to remediate that and to alleviate that. They are planting millions of trees. They are reducing polluting emissions in all the factories. They will diminish the number of cars driving. All these measures definitely will yield good results.
When you're running in a polluted environment like this, it feels like you're sucking in muck. And for me as an amateur athlete, it's one thing, but for a professional athlete, when you win the Olympic marathon, it might be by 1 or 2 seconds over 26.2 miles. And so if you have a different, if pollution impacts you differently than somebody else, that can have a determinative impact on your performance. And so there are a lot of athletes who are certainly very excited about the Olympics, but nobody wants to go and to feel that they weren't able to compete at their best as a result of poor air quality. And so this is really a shot across the bow, and the Chinese have done a lot to try to improve the environmental conditions in Beijing in advance of the Olympics. But Beijing exists within China, and China is now facing a monumental environmental crisis, and there's nothing that's going to be able to be done in the short term that's going to address this, be able to sufficiently address this issue. The Chinese government is banning many cars on the road at the time of the Olympics. They are banning certain construction activities around Beijing in the months before the Olympics. There are plans to seed the clouds to induce rain to try to clean up the air. And they've invested billions of dollars in environmental cleanups around Beijing in advance of the Olympics. But all of this is happening within a country that is having enormous increases in pollution levels. There are coal-powered plants that are spewing contaminants into the air, and that's happening all across China. And this is going to affect Beijing, it's going to affect the Olympics, and it's a concern not only among athletes, but among spectators and among the international community. That's what the Chinese government is afraid of. This is the first major athlete who said that he's not going to compete because of pollution. But there are many, many others who are worried about the air quality, who are worried about the food quality, and who are concerned about competing in these games. And China is trying very hard to promote these Olympics as being harmonious and green and people-friendly, but when there are reports such as this, reports such as about those which have come out recently about contaminants in the food, reports of the conflict and the crisis that's now emerging in Tibet, fears about what's going to happen in Darfur and concerns about China's connection to that. These are big, big issues that are going to come out over the course of the next months, and certainly over the time of the Olympics. And the Chinese government is afraid of that, but I think they have to get used to it because, like it or not, there are many other issues which attach themselves to the Olympics. In 1988, the opposition forces in Korea used the Olympics as an opportunity to raise their voices, and the government was much less able to crack down, and that had a major impact in Korea. There are many people who are going to be raising issues around these Olympics, and whether it's about pollution or about human rights or worker rights or whatever. And how the Chinese government responds to those kinds of claims is going to be very challenging. It's certainly something for us all to look out for.